Hey, this is Lindsay Labonte. You're listening to our Applied Mortgage Community Show. I am so excited today to have a really special guest from our community, Burns Maxey, here representing City Space. Burns, do you want to just introduce yourself a little bit and tell us about you?
Sure, Lindsay. First, it's so great to be here with you. I am just thrilled to be hanging out in the same space with you and spending a little time to talk about city space and connecting more with Applied Mortgage is just absolutely awesome. So thank you for having me here.
Thank you.
And yeah, so I'm Burns Maxey. My background, I am an artist, I'm a designer, I'm an arts manager, I'm a community organizer, I'm president of City Space. We're a nonprofit that we're stewards of the building of the Old Town Hall in Easthampton, Massachusetts, and it's an arts hub. And so that's also in my back pocket too. I teach at UMass. I teach marketing to arts nonprofit professionals through the Arts Extension Service. And I have my own design and marketing business. So I do all kinds of sorts of things with that, really trying to put creativity into everything that I do. So yeah, that's a little
That's
bit
great.
about me.
Yeah, you wear a lot of hats. So I got to have a really great time touring the City Space location in the center of Easthampton. And it occurred to me about halfway through my tour that this wasn't actually your full-time only gig that you do, right? And I was like, wait a minute, what do you actually do the rest of the time? Like, how do you have
Right?
time for everything else? And clearly you wear a ton of hats and you do all sorts of different things. So thank you for taking the time out of your day, not only to do this, but to do everything else that you do, a lot of which is volunteerism, right?
My pleasure.
Um,
Yes, yes,
yeah.
absolutely.
So tell me a little bit about City Space and just what's going on there. If people had known nothing about City Space, starting with the basics, what would you tell them?
Sure. Well, City Space, we are stewards of the Old Town Hall. So the Old Town Hall is a building located in Easthampton, Massachusetts on Main Street. It's this big, beautiful Italianate design building that some people mistake as a church. It's right on the Rotary as you're coming into town. And it was built in 1869, but the town offices were there. The first library was there where people got their licenses and paid their taxes and that kind of thing. And they left the building. The city left the building and their offices because it just wasn't the right fit for the growth and size of the city municipal the work that they needed to do. And they were spread out throughout the city. So they decided to leave. And a couple of folks came together and said, "Hey, you know what? This would be a great location for arts and cultural organizations to provide community access to the arts through the work that they do." So Ed Check, who's currently on our board, a founding member, and Will Bundy, owner of Eastworks, came together and said, "Hey, you know what? This is an opportunity for us to do this. What do we need to do to the city?" And they said, "You need to apply for an RFP." And so they did that. And they said, "You need to start a nonprofit." You got the RFP. So they did that. And then they rented just the first floor of the old town hall. And the first business that came in was Big Red Frame. And it is a great organization. It's a business. It's a for-profit business that offers framing services as well as a gallery, and it's a Lucy Gallery. It's run by Jean-Pierre Pache, who is really at the forefront of being a change maker in the Easthampton community for arts and culture. Easthampton City Arts is also in the building, and they have a gallery space, and they're actually part of the city planning department. And Flywheel Arts Collective also came into the building at that time. We renovated the first floor, and it wasn't until 2019, believe it or not, that after a lot of conversations with community members and performing artists, we said, "Hey, what can we do to go to the next steps for this building? What would you like to see happen?" And they said, "Well, there's this beautiful second floor space, 50-foot ceilings,
Yeah.
stained glass windows. It is, when you visited, you said, this is not, seeing it in person just makes such a
Mm-hmm.
difference."
Yeah.
And they said, "We'd like to see you take this on." So in 2019, we said, we were like, "Okay, well, in order to do this, what we need to do is have a full lease with the city of Easthampton for the building. So now we have a 44-year long-term lease with the city to maintain the building in full. We also, Flywheel Arts Collective left us in 2020, and we refurbished and reopened the space where they were habitating into the Blue Room, which has been
Right.
activated and
Right.
has performances and community events every week.
That's great. And it was just breathtaking to walk into. I mean, these old buildings, I actually have the materials for those that are watching on YouTube instead of the podcast.
Oh,
And, as you're driving around the Rotary, right? Probably those of us who live anywhere along the, I don't know, Northampton to Westfield corridor on Route 10, right? Drive back and forth thousands of times past the beautiful building that's right on the Rotary in Easthampton. And to actually walk in and see and feel the energy that's there already, just those typical old buildings with the beautiful stairs that are going up to that second floor that you mentioned with the huge auditorium space. It's really breathtaking. So if you're encouraging people to talk to you and potentially go in and see the space, then I would definitely suggest doing that. It was really great. Now, and there are though some events that are already happening, right? You mentioned the Blue Room
sure.
in the back, which was a really cool space to see. Can
Yeah.
you talk a little bit about if people do want to see the space? When can they go? What can they do there? What's going on other
Yeah,
than the art gallery, as you mentioned?
absolutely. Well, that's a great segue to some events that are coming up in the first weekend of December. On December 2nd, folks can check out that second floor space with a tour that we'll be offering during Art Walk, which is a
Oh
citywide
wow.
event. But Old Town Hall will be incredibly activated, and it's a great time to find those special, unique gifts that are made by local artisans. So we will have a pop up shop as well as in the two gallery spaces there in Big Red Frame and ECA. There will be art as a gift. So it'll be a plethora of artwork created by local talent, and you can get those gifts. On December 2nd, that's 5 to 8 p.m. And we'll be providing tours of the second floor. Just to give you sort of an idea, Lindsay, of what else will be happening on that weekend, Valley Jazz Shares. I don't know if you know about them, but they're a really cool organization that offers sort of like the CSA model
Oh yes.
for jazz. So folks buy into these shares and they come to see performances. And Andrew Lamb Newman Taylor Baker duo, it's a saxophonist and a drummer, will be playing from at 7:30 on December 3rd. And then on December 4th, you can come back and buy more stuff because this really cool cat, her name is Adele Fantasia. She's with Thumbsucker Designs, is having a 20 plus artisan
Wow.
artist fair that's going to be really awesome. You can also get an astrology tarot reading at
Oh
the
my
same
gosh.
time, so you can give something to yourself too.
That's
So
great.
that's that first weekend in December.
Wow.
You can check out all the things happening at Old Town Hall.
So really busy. That's
Yeah.
great. So for Art Walk, is there any RSVP that's actually formally required, or is that something that people can pop into, show up?
Yeah, people can just pop into, you're really, we encourage folks to check out some of our local restaurants. And, one of the ideas behind City Space is we really think about how we are activating our local economy through the work that we're doing. So, there is Galaxy just across the street, as well as Calico right down the
Mhm.
street. And if you want to, a lighter fare, there's Antonio's. So if you want some pizza, it's right there.
Right.
So you can do that and then stop in, talk to people. It's a great networking opportunity too. So if you're
Mhm.
in the business community, you want to meet people in the community, you're new to the community, something that might be of interest to you and in the real estate business is that, I think at our last art walk, we had 6 different people who have moved here from California
Wow.
in the past year and a half.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they were just excited to be out and about and find out sort of post-pandemic about our communities,
Right.
and what's going on and how they
Right.
can plug in.
Yeah, I think that's a really important point. I mean, certainly, and this goes without saying, the arts is a big draw for people to want to live here and want to buy homes here and want to stay here.
Yeah.
And also, like you said, post pandemic, people were wanting to connect in person. And so this is a really nice way to bring people together and do that. So other than all of these events that are already happening in the space, what's going on? Tell me about that second floor restoration, and how can people help in that process?
Yeah, yeah. So it's currently it's a $7.5 million campaign. We actually launched the first phase to restore the second floor. It's a really expansive project in the sense that it allows for the space to be utilized. My cat's gonna come and say hello.
That's okay. We love cats.
All right.
Surprise guest.
So yeah, so it's really an opportunity for the full building to come to life because we're putting in new HVAC systems and electrical systems, but we are also putting in a new elevator for the exterior of the building, as well as restrooms. The second floor will be a flexible performing arts and community space. It'll house about 350 seats, probably
Wow.
about double that standing. So
Wow.
if you can imagine that many people leaving and going to support our local economies and taking in all of the good stuff from the arts and culture, people can really get involved in this project. It's really exciting. We have a great capital campaign team of community pollinators that are connecting with their networks and bringing people in for tours. You can volunteer. You can also donate. So there's a lot of information on our website about how you can donate at any level. Some folks give $5, $500, $500,000. You know, there is that range and all in between. We do have a take a seat, which is an opportunity for folks to invest in a chair and pay tribute to somebody that they love or themselves or their cat or their dog. And we'll have a plaque on the back of those 350 chairs. So we definitely have some of those left. So if you're looking to invest in those, you can go to our website at cityspaceeasthampton.org/donate.
Cityspaceeasthampton.org/donate. That
Yeah.
sounds like a good one to remember.
Yeah.
And the space, it really is. It's just high ceilings, like you said, beautiful windows, the lighting, even without it being updated, just gorgeous up there. And to have a space with 350 seats, or you said almost 700 standing room,
Yes.
that is, I mean, what a draw that will be for the center of East Hampton and all the businesses and restaurants and all the people that are already living and working there. That's so great. I'm envisioning not only performances and everything, but I'm thinking business networking events and weddings. We mentioned, possible other gatherings that could happen right here
Sure.
locally. So
Yes, absolutely. I mean, we are looking at all kinds of income models to help for the longevity of the organization and to help sustain the building, because it's this whole cyclical reciprocity that we're creating in exchange with our community to help essentially maintain this building for the community.
that's great. So you mentioned the art walk, you mentioned the performances that are already happening in the space, and the artisan market that's also going to be happening there, as well as the capital campaign to improve the rest of the space. That's a lot of ways that people can get involved. But are there any other pieces of the puzzle that we missed at this point that you want to make sure we highlight?
Yeah, so we are offering an art raffle. We're doing an exchange, a collaboration with some open studio artists where you can put in just $10 at the Art Walk or at upcoming open studios, Cottage Street Open Studios and Paragon Open Studios in East Hampton. And you can put in $10 for a Ugoni lamp, for a Kim Carlino painting, a Maggie Nowinski print, a kaleidoscope pottery platter, and a Piper Ferezzo bird feeder. So you can just put your
Wow.
$10 in and test your luck. So that's one thing that we'll be out in the community as well as in the Old Town Hall. Also, you can become a member of City Space. So we have membership options where that allows you discounts to use the Blue Room as well as some perks to our online store with locally artist created designs of swag, City Space swag. And
Right.
it's a great, if you become a member, you get to also test your luck and see if your name is pulled out of the hat for a $50 or $100 gift certificate to some of our local restaurants. So
Oh, that's great.
yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for sharing about the Old Town Hall and what City Space is doing. This has been so informative, and what a creative way that people are coming together and collaborating around the project. So one more time, for anybody that wants to stay involved, learn more, the best way to follow you, is it probably on your website and social media?
Yeah, so our social media handles are City Space 413, or our website is cityspaceeasthampton.org.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, we'll definitely be following along. And thank you so much again for being on the show today.
Thank you, Lindsay. It's been a pleasure.
That's a wrap. Thanks so much for tuning in to our Applied Mortgage Community Show. As always, if you have any mortgage-related questions, please contact our team at Applied Mortgage, 413-586-5626, or appliedmortgageteam.com. And if you want to be featured on one of our episodes, let me know. We'd love to have you.